Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Half in the Bag Disc Golf Podcast. As always, my name is RJ. I'm coming to you from Northeast Indiana, and today I am living the latte life with some Busch Lights.
Oh,
yes,
fancy
yes,
pants.
the old Busch lattes.
Good job.
And yeah. You know, trying to watch my weight, so I'm drinking the light beer. But joining me today. Yes, really I am. So, but joining me today is the man who won the 2022 Half in the Bag Disc Golf Podcaster of the Year award, Joe. Joe, how you doing? Where are you coming to us from? What you drinking?
They love me. They love me so much. I had no idea about this. Oh, this is so happy. This is the most prestigious award ever. Oh man. I'm full of it, man. Like, made some changes to the YouTube channel, and I am just feeling like $1 million. I am coming from Fort Fun. I'm coming from
the South Side.
You know it. Go White Sox.
For our audio listeners, there.
I'm coming from Moderation. That's the imaginary place in my head that I go to drink. And I am drinking something I thought was appropriate, and I really hoped it was a good bourbon because I saw it in Meyer, I think, of all places. Like, Meyer has a shockingly good whiskey selection. Like,
if you go to the Meyer on DuPont Road, that's a nice Meyer.
I went to the Meyer on Lima near 69.
That's also a good one.
Yeah, so it's called the Wiseman Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. And I just hoped it was good because the price suggested it would be Jack Daniels level, roughly, like regular Jack, not Gentleman Jack, which is fine, but not something you just drink. You mix it. And this is actually like good. I won't be drinking it all that fast. It's got a nice burn to it. It's 90.8 proof, but yeah, it's
nice.
Shockingly good. I also found a Japanese whiskey there that has been super tasty. It is, the bottle describes it as slight spicy with a sweet finish, and I agree. I was confused. I just thought it was Japanese, and I saw that. I was like, well, I gotta get it. And I did.
Yeah, that sounds...
And I was like, even if it's crap, like, it's just a cool talking piece, and it's, like, really good. I'm trying to figure out where to buy more of it.
I'm going to have to try it at some point.
Yeah.
No, last night I cracked open the Jameson Black Barrel that I've got, and that was...
that can be good. That should be really good.
Oh, yeah, it was real good.
I'm not drinking from the awesome Half of the Bag Stein merch. It is our beautiful Half in the Bag logo with the bottles coming out of the backpack saying Disc Golf Drunk, which you shouldn't do in a tournament. That's not legal and may not be legal depending on most public parks. At least in the Fort Wayne area, you're not supposed to. I'm going to phrase it like that. Of course, I don't need any help playing worse, so I usually stay sober.
Maybe you would play better if you had a little bit of loosener.
Kind of like beer pong. You know, sober, you're good, and then you kind of get worse, and then you hit that special place of drunk where you're just like, you can't miss. But it's such a razor thin line where it can go bad fast.
Most Midwest party games, cornhole, I think, falls into that same level.
Yep.
Beersby,
beer ball.
Yeah.
That one's a fun one. Beer ball. So ping pong table. On each corner, you have, it's teams of two. On each corner, you have a beer can. And you try to hit the other team's beer can. If you do, then you start chugging. You crack yours open. You start chugging it. Or no, it's theirs. I don't remember exactly. It's something along those lines. And you got to chase a ping pong ball all over the the damn place, and it's fun.
Yeah.
First team to finish. I honestly can't. So I've played it like a handful of times in college and haven't played it since, clearly.
It sounds like a college game.
It was a college game.
Beer darts. Don't forget about that one.
It was a college game where you needed a lot of space. And so there's only one house we'd go to that actually had a basement with enough space where you could kind of safely, as safe as you could, play it.
Yes.
Again, college game.
Yes.
So thank you for coming to Half in the Bag disc golf or Half in the Bag drinking games.
Maybe there should be a Half in the Bag disc golf drinking game.
Yeah, it's called Playing Around at a brewery.
Yes.
Couple housekeeping things for the channel. For the Half in the Bag listeners who don't watch anything else or listen to anything else, the Joe's Disc Golf podcast is being reconfigured, and I'm trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to do it and what the hell I'm going to talk about, because the channel, I have been, if you've noticed, way more active, putting out shorter videos on individual topics and putting out shorts. I don't know if you saw the 2 shorts that I've done recently, the Spaceballs one and then the Anchorman one. They're fun.
Not off the top of my head, but anyway.
Yeah. The Spaceballs one was the intro to one of the videos talking about Lone Star discs. So if you watch that one, it was just that intro. Somebody told me I should cut it, and I was like, that's a good idea. Thank you, person.
Oh, man.
Oh, yeah. So today, though, we're talking about the Half in the Bag awards, the drunkies, we shall call them. I don't know what to call them, to be honest.
I kind of like that, though. But yeah, so obviously this is our first episode of 2023, our now second year of doing the podcast.
Woo!
Wow.
Go team.
Who would have thought that was going to happen?
Yeah, no kidding. Who would have thought that the hosting would be what it is now, and then how often we change it?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I can't. Anyway, it's been a while since all 3 of us have been on.
Yes. And we've never had all 4 of us.
No, we can't seem to work that one out. Stupid Ben.
That one. Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
So we are going to, before we start looking forward to the 2023 Disc Golf Pro Tour season, we're going to take a look back. We're going to hand out some awards for the 2022 season. We've got, I believe if my count is right, 8 categories.
Yes.
No, 7 categories.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 8.
8?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
1, 2, 3, 4. We'll figure out what's different as the show progresses. It will be a surprise to everyone.
Yes, it will.
Stay tuned to figure it out. Put in your guesses. You don't even know all the categories. I mean, you could probably figure out a couple like obvious ones.
Yes. So let's go ahead and get started. And, before we start drinking too much, let's talk about the players that are the players that are a little too young to drink. Let's talk about our young players of the year.
Yep.
And I've got ladies first here. So the FPO players, young players of the year, I've got 2 nominations.
Okay.
One of them being Cat Merch.
Okay.
And the other one being Haley King. Do you have any to add to that?
I'd say Haley King has been around for a little while.
But she's still young.
Yeah.
She is still young.
I have the...
That's why I included her in this one.
I have the PDGA Rookie of the Year, Aria Castorita.
Okay.
Or Castorita. I've always heard it said. I've never really looked at it written out and how everybody pronounces it versus how it's written.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic player.
Not the same.
This is her first year touring. So she was right around 30th in FPO.
Yeah.
So first year touring.
Yeah. I mean,
first full
I think
touring.
that's pretty good.
I'd say that's really good.
Yeah.
Haley King missed a lot.
She did. And that's why I actually, for this specific category, I have this one going to Cat Merch.
Okay.
Finished 8th in the DGPT standings for 2022.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of a breakout player too, but definitely someone that we did not have. Looking back at my notes for the beginning of the year, not somebody that I really knew anything about. So,
Yeah.
And again, so young, so talented. Can't wait to see where her career takes her. Really looking forward to probably a lot of battles between her and all sorts of different players going forward. She's who I have as the winner here. Who do you have?
Area Castaruda.
Okay.
She was her best finish real quick here was 6th place at the New World Champ. Oh wait, that's technically this year. Those wraparound events I'm looking at. So she finished 6th there. Other than that, tied for 7th at USWDGC. I think she was in the mix. There were a handful of people that were in the mix there. So otherwise finishing middle of the pack, upper middle of the pack for the most part. But again, first year,
touring.
Technically, she turned pro in 2021, but does not have any DGPT events from then. Mm-hmm. So I definitely count that. Someone to definitely look out for. She looks like she's athletic and has a high ceiling. We'll see how that pans out. Haven't been following pro disc golf that long, but if it's anything like any other sport, just because you're athletic and have a high ceiling doesn't mean you will live up to expectations. No offense. Oh. No offense to her in particular, just saying broad spectrum, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the FPO Young Player of the Year.
Yep.
I think the next one that we're going to go to is obviously the MPO Young Player of the Year. And who do you have here?
I actually have Isaac Robinson.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Tell me about him.
So he managed to take, I have to go back and pull up his stats here. UDisc World Rankings. Help me go faster. Switch to MPO.
So he finished 15th in DGPT standings.
Yep.
Looks like he is 11th in the world right now.
Yes, he is. He also, he was 3rd at Portland Open. He was first at Idlewild, tough tournament there. 5th at Waco. Where was he?
2nd at Green Mountain.
Yep.
Second
at Pro Tour Championship.
Yep.
I thought he was. Oh no, I mixed him up with somebody else for Worlds. My bad.
Okay.
Still a very talented player.
Yes.
He's actually been on tour for a lot longer than I thought. Who am I thinking of then? Man,
I don't know, but for me, this category starts and ends with one person. Huge surprise here. I'm going with Gannon Burr here.
I wanted to pick somebody different.
That's fair. Just somebody else to talk about. But for me, this isn't the first. Well, this is the first time that we're talking about Gannon. Spoiler alert. It's not going to be the last time that we talk about Gannon today, at least on my end.
Yeah.
I think that I would be surprised if...
Why can't I get into the stats for that tournament? Hang on. I'm trying here. I really am, believe it or not.
Which tournament is that?
Worlds. Aaron Gossage.
World.
Who am I thinking of then? I knew that was Aaron Gossage. Where was there another battle like that? Maybe I'm thinking of Nicholas Antila from Finland.
Oh, maybe.
Yep. I'm thinking of the wrong person and the wrong tournament. Believe it or not, I wrote this list when I was 100% sober. I'd like to retract Isaac Robinson, who is a great player. Obviously, 11th in UDisc World Rankings. Fantastic player. Nicholas Antila is who I actually wanted. Came down to the wire with him. Back and forth for sure against Gannon Burr. It was crazy at USDGC this year. It was absolutely crazy. There's so many people in the mix. And just going down the top 5, it was Gannon Burr, Nicholas Antila, Calvin Heimberg, Paul Macbeth, and Matty O. Like, and then Isaac Robinson right there in 6th. So, like, fantastic people. I think he's Nicholas is someone to definitely watch out for coming up here, for sure. We'll see. He is from, I believe that is Finland. Yes. Their flag is a blue plus, basically. Yes. I'm sorry, but that's kind of he is definitely a younger. I think he's close to Gannon's age ish.
Okay.
He's probably older because just about everybody is older than Gannon right now.
It's hard to be younger than Gannon and be on the
and
Pro
be
Tour.
At that level.
Yes. So that was our young players of the year. Before we get into some people that kind of hit their stride and really began to break out this year, let's talk about some people that made a bit of a comeback this year. And let's talk about our MPO comeback player of the year. For me, the two that I have circled, number 1 being Scott Stokely.
Yep.
Number 2 being Simon Lizotte.
Simon's
I think
just a
both
weird
of them.
One. Like,
he is, but for me, with him missing a good chunk of last season and then
with his injury,
also
and then
missing the beginning of this year,
with his
it seems like we had really gotten a disjointed, kind of view of him over the last few years. So to see him come back and kind of tear up the tour there for probably
a month and a half. He was a boomer bust. He had 4 wins and 4 like 40th place.
Basically,
like
would have missed the cut. Basically,
I think made the cash, but like just
barely.
Like his season was like it was a roller coaster for sure. But then he strung together a couple wins and he played really well. Mine is kind of an obvious one, Scott Stokely. He did not find his way onto lead card or chase card coverage. He did find himself on first round coverage where, they just get to set the roster there. I picked him because like he didn't do great, but he managed to cash, and that's more than I could say like I could ever do. And technically, I think there's a big enough age gap with us where he could technically be like my dad. He's in his 50s.
Yeah, I suppose that. That'd be pushing it for us. But
if he
could be Gannonberg's grandfather, though.
Yes, that's for sure. That's like, and then he's doing that and he's playing well. It's just, I think he underestimated how much the field has grown since he took time off. Like, it's been a long time since Stokely actually toured. And it was a very different tour when he was there. The guy was back in the day battling with Climo and Barry Schultz and all these legends. And now he's back playing against, sort of against like Ricky and Paul and Calvin. Doing far better at these courses than you and I could ever hope to do. That's for sure.
100%. And that's why actually he is my choice for this one as well. Again, just, truly a comeback in that he was out of touring. He was out of, and he came back. Did he do anything to necessarily wow anyone? No. But the fact that he made cash,
he won that first big money skins, not the one that had all the issues. The one that he ended up winning the skins, and then he's a big supporter of an autism foundation. I cannot remember for the life of me which one it is, but he donated all that money to them, and he promised to donate all his winnings to that, which unfortunately wasn't as much as he hoped, but he still did it. Like, that's impressive.
Yeah. So now for FPO comeback player of the year, unless you've got anything else about MPO.
Nope. This was a weird one.
This was a weird one.
Last year,
I had a hard time.
Last year, it would have been the Rookie of the Year, Juliana Korver.
Yes.
But I guess she.
Who do you have this year, though?
I put the Europeans as a blanket because they haven't been here for a while. And like you had Kristen doing fantastic. And then a lot of high expectations for Evelina and Hannah that they kind of missed the target.
Yeah.
By a little bit. But as a whole, like it's mostly because of the pandemic and they couldn't be here. I couldn't think of anyone FPO wise on tour that was a Scott Stokely or close, or even like a Simon Lizotte, who is like kind of like maybe next year if Heather Young comes back to playing disc golf, we could look at her.
Yeah.
Because she played the first like 2 or 3 events and hasn't played since. But other than that, like I couldn't. That's going to be a tough one going forward. I don't think it's going to be like the PGA where like you're on the tour or you're not, and Tiger Woods is like an exception kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and again, for me, I look at it too as, who really had like a bounce back year.
Yeah.
Either from injuries or, whatever. So, maybe next year for MPO, Eagle's a good candidate for that. Although,
I
don't know that you can call it a comeback when he won a major this year.
Yeah.
So
that's a weird one. So
yeah, it's kind of like Simon in that one.
Name it like the bounce back player rather than the comeback, where it's like comeback makes it feel like here's this person who was not even playing, like injured, basically Scott Stokely. Like whether it was
here we go. Another good candidate for next year is Nico.
That I guess.
Oh man,
technically, depending on how that goes, I wish him the best of luck. I do. I really hope he changed.
I do too.
I really do.
But yeah, no, I'm with you. I basically have the Europeans on this one. I gave it to Evelina just because she kind of
because she wasn't Kristen.
Right. Like we saw the flash of what Kristen could do last year, and I think a lot of us coming into the year had this debate of, is it Kristen? Is it Paige? Is it Paige? Is it Kristen? Where does Kristen fit in this Paige and Kat, the dichotomy?
And then Heather Young, or not Heather, Haley King, but then she skipped a bunch of tournaments for personal, which, whatever. Hey.
Or just, didn't want to drive through a tornado.
Well, no, I'm talking about like she took her tour season aside from weather concerns, which I don't blame her for that at all.
No.
She took some time off.
Yeah.
Which, whatever. Yep.
But she's, whatever. So let's move on from our comeback players of the year.
Yep.
And let's move on to our, those that kind of broke out for us. We talked about some young players before. So let's talk about some breakout players. And on the female side, on the FPO side, I've got 4 nominees for you here.
Okay.
Holland Handley.
All right.
Kat Mersch.
Yep.
Maria Oliva.
Okay.
And Valerie Mondahano.
One of these did not play for Trilogy. Wait. 2 of them didn't.
Wait. Oh, wow. Yeah, 2 of them didn't.
Yeah.
Do you have anyone else to add to that list?
No, I had Valerie Mondahano.
That's
about.
Feels weird saying
I didn't
that.
know we were doing options. Okay. I thought we were just picking our person.
No. That's fine. Okay. So you went with Valerie.
I don't disagree with Valerie or Holland or Kat Merch or I can't remember your 4th person.
Maria Oliva.
Yeah, I can't out of that. I think Valerie was the most prominent. I feel like
it's
she
weird
won a couple.
For me.
Yeah.
It's weird to say that she was the breakout player, but looking back at my notes from last year, I had her as the 10th ranked player.
Yeah.
Heading into the season. And I just, she really took that step up this year.
Yeah.
And for me, that's kind of why I thought that she, was more prominent in her breakout than anyone else.
Yeah, just kind of looking at like her finishes last year, not just kind of excluding some of these. Oh yeah, I forgot the DGPT. Some of them were 8, whatever. But her best finish that wasn't like an A tier, I think was nope, that's not it. 4th, I think 4th or 5th, which in excuse me, FPO, that's not great.
Yeah.
Like
because
like that's, compared to the MPO, the field isn't as deep. And that was last year. That was 2021. And now 4th or 5th is pretty good, but she had a couple wins. So she won
in
Beaver State Fling.
Yep.
Waco.
She won Waco.
And she was second for the Open at Belton right after. Like, she was up there. She did a great job there. She was constantly up there. Holland Hanley definitely just kind of came out of nowhere. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I included her in that one. Same thing with Kat Merch and then Maria Oliva. Just all 4 of them really kind of... I was not particularly aware of any of them beforehand, so now that I think that there's an argument that all of them could be top 10 FPO players, I think is a good case that...
because of the wins, I would throw it to Valerie.
Yeah, that's where I am too. I think that she just had that little bit extra. So let's talk about the MPO Breakout Player of the Year then. Yep. And who do you have here?
I got Robert Burridge. He this year before turning pro, won the College National singles and team for disc golf. And that was his last. They're 23rd for team. Individually, he won it for College Nationals, and that was his last AM event. His College Nationals, and then he was in the mix for some of these. Like, he ended up, it wasn't as good as I thought with some of these, but it just seemed like he was up there. He did well. He wasn't touring. He was, what did he do for MPO the year before? He's managed to qualify for USDGC a couple times by doing the play-in event. So that's worth something for sure.
Yeah.
He's someone that I think we'll be looking out for the next couple years. That's about all I got there.
I actually think that he's a good candidate for next year's Breakout Player of the Year. Yep. But for me this year, I said it before, it won't be the first time that we mentioned Gannonburg. Well, here's another one that I've got going to him.
Yeah.
Call it lazy, call it taking the easy way out. I don't care.
I also thought about taking somebody different than Gannon.
What's that?
Gannon was the first one that came to my mind, and I was like, this is going to be a very boring, quick show if I just pick the same people as you.
Pick the obvious ones?
Yeah. So I was like, all right, let's dig a little deeper here.
Yeah, no, I think that he's the obvious choice here. Just the year that he had, obviously, excuse me.
Yeah.
Kind of, I think breakout's a good way of describing it. Just that he really put himself in that upper tier. Is he on the level of, say, an Eagle, a Paul, a Ricky? No, probably not there yet.
I would say not there yet. Give it another year or two. Here's the thing, though. Yeah. He graduated. He's graduating high school now. So what's he going to do now with all the free time? For not necessarily the 2023 season, I don't think much is going to change. But for the 2024 season, because, I mean, he'd be stupid to go to college.
Well, he can go win college nationals, though.
No, because he's already a pro.
Bummer. Poor guy.
So he would be, I think it'd be stupid if he went to college.
Yeah,
Obviously, like he's going to be making the money this year for sure.
Yeah.
And if not this year, if Prodigy doesn't give him a lucrative early extension, people are going to be knocking down the door basically this summer trying to get him for the 2024 season. Because, I mean, are you stupid? Like, would you not want to sign the potential next Paul Macbeth? I mean, he's right now the person who looks like he could be the next Macbeth or Wysocki or Eagle. Like,
yeah,
not saying any of those guys are over the hill by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying he's that good. And who knows, maybe we'll find some other random 16-year-old hops on and just like obliterates the field. You never know.
I suppose that is possible. But so that's the end of my kind of traditional awards, I'll say. Do you have any other
No.
Okay.
I mean, outside of, the traditionals also being the player of the year. And
yes, which we're going to get to at the end here.
Teaser.
Woo!
Make you
Got
stay.
him.
Make you stay.
Yes. So let's get into our MPO player who had a bit too much head on their beer this year. A little bit of a disappointment.
Yep.
For me,
okay.
I've got a couple nominees here. I've got Eagle.
Okay.
I've got Linus. I've got Yuli. I've got Kevin Jones, and I've got Ezra.
Okay. And
anyone that you would.
I would add Disc Golf Jesus, James Conrad.
James Conrad?
Yes. I had my other person I had on the list was Kevin Jones. So you're ready. Yuli, I don't know if I would say it's kind of a Sarah Hokum situation where they're both still really good players. It's the field is just that much better.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, kind of reached their ceiling.
Yeah. They're both fantastic. They're great players. Kick my ass any day of the week. Probably even with my own bag.
And on your own courses.
on my own courses. Doesn't matter. And, they're still fantastic players, but I think the field has just gotten that much better that it's not necessarily a disappointment so much as
just a passing of the guard.
Yeah. I wanted to say changing expectations, but that sounds really mean, and that's not how I mean it. You know what I'm like?
Yeah.
I'm trying to we're in a weird spot where it's not like, baseball by the time we were born was going for 100 years. Football was going for 80 years.
Yep.
Basketball, I don't know, 60 something odd years or more.
Yeah.
So disc golf, yes, technically it's been going, PDGA has been going since the 80s, but like the money hasn't gotten into it until the last 2-3 years. So I think we're going to see a rapid, like all of a sudden Gannon Burr is going to be a common-ish thing.
Yeah.
So kind of derailed that, but coming back to it.
No.
The person I had picked was Kevin Jones as kind of a disappointing season.
Okay.
He never really found himself totally in the mix. He signed that big contract with Prodigy this year, and then everybody kind of forgot about him because of it was who was over there. Gannon Burr is on Prodigy. Alden Harris is on Prodigy. Just like all these superstars, basically, and up and coming superstars. And then Kevin Jones, like he's got his line of discs. I haven't thrown any of them. I wonder how they are. But like, I feel like after that contract signing, he just never seemed to be in the mix, and hopefully he can turn it around this year.
Yeah. I'm with you. I had relatively high expectations for him coming into the year.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people kind of, when I said that, a lot of people were kind of like, I don't know. So I think I overrated him a little bit. And for that reason, I guess I'm a little bit hesitant to give him kind of the flop of the year, basically.
I mean, he never really even had top 10s.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm like,
Yeah, if you're the banner holder for a major disc company, you need to be there. That said, I think I actually want to give this one to Eagle.
Okay.
Which is weird considering the fact that he won a major this year, that he played really well in the tournaments that he played in.
Yeah.
But the fact that he missed so much of the season, it feels like a what if. It feels like are we ever gonna see the Eagle that we?
Yeah, I'll be curious coming up. See. Like, as I said with Nico, as I said with Eagle when he initially did this at the All-Star event in 2021, like when I said like I don't think he's gonna come back and I don't think he's gonna perform well, and people are like, how dare you say that? He's Eagle McMahon. He can do anything. I'm like, I work in sports medicine. Do you know how many of these injuries I've seen and how many people who don't take care of it the right way? And I was afraid he wasn't going to take care of it the right way.
I still don't know that he's going to take care of it the right way.
I don't know either.
He's been taking care of it.
I'd like to think that injury, kind of re-injury-ish that he had towards the beginning of the season. I can't remember what event it was. I
can't remember either, but
I hope that was like the moment where he's like, oh shit, I need to fix this.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like, it seems like based on the European Open, of course, he never threw a single forehand.
Yeah.
It seemed like the stem cell injections have been working. Supposedly he's working out with a personal trainer trying to get stronger in general, which everybody on tour could benefit from, except for like Ezra Aderhold. Dude loves to work out no matter what. So I'm just saying. Like,
I'd throw Brody in there too.
Yeah, he talks about it a lot. He talks about working out a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that some of like people on tour don't. It's just you can't not look at Ezra and go, dude works out. Like you kind of look at Ricky and you kind of look at Ego and Paul and like they're in shape, but they're like skinny guys. Yeah. Where they
look more like cross country runners than football players.
Yes. Where Ezra looks like he's getting ready for the next Arnold Classic here in Fort Wayne, and he's going to be a bodybuilder.
Yeah. So I'm going with Eagle. You're going with Kevin Jones. Yep. I think it's hard to really disagree with either of those.
Yeah. I mean, I think we could both can and kind of have made a compelling case for both, like for very different reasons.
So now let's flip it over to the FPO side.
Yep.
And which FPO players had a little bit too much head on their beer?
Evelina and Henna.
Okay, that's two. I've got those two, and then the other nominee that I've got is Kona.
Oh yeah, God, forgot about that.
Just because she signed such a big contract that I think kind of in the same vein as Kevin Jones, in that because of that contract, she really needed a better performance this year. She
signed the same contract as Kristen Tatar, and they were they didn't even look like they were playing the same division, let alone the same tournament. Like, she had her flash. Kona had her flashes. Like, she'd have a good round, and then a mediocre round, and then a round that it's like, what are you doing? And part of that, I'm sure, like, I kind of gave her a pass for the first couple tournaments. Like, brand new discs, brand new contract, huge expectations. Like, all right, it's, you know, first couple, Waco, Las Vegas, Belton. All right, you know, it's going to happen. Then you're going to settle in and we're going to see it. And she just never did.
Yeah, that's why I nominate her for this one. Yeah. Just because of that. The fact that we never really saw her settle.
Yeah.
You know, it would be one thing if she started off really inconsistently and then towards the end of the year, we saw her even just settling into like fighting 5. For top 10s,
I'd say but FPO side, like fighting for top 6, 7, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Because it's just, again, field, it's not the same as the MPO side yet, where top 10 is like, oh, damn. All right, good job, guys. it's just, I think in the next 2 or 3 years, FPO is going to be like, it'll be the same, but
yeah,
we're not there yet.
Now you mentioned the European players.
Part of that was the hype.
Kristen, I assume.
Yes, part of that was the hype of everybody saying, like, what are we going to see there? And then more so Evelina than Henna. They both had their putting woes. But Evelina just shredding the course and then 4-putt from 15 feet. You know, and just my disappointment came from watching her game and watching her just absolutely crush it a mile, her upshots being crazy accurate, and then her putting being, I don't even know. Like, I think I generally speaking, but these two in particular, Evelina and Kona, would benefit from a sports psychologist with mental strategies, because it's mental. Like, you watch moments in their game, both of them, and they're awesome. And then all of a sudden they just start thinking, and coming from someone who suffers from the exact same damn thing. Here's the difference. I don't try to make my living off of it.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and for me, that's why I actually think that I have Henna as the winner of this category.
Okay.
Because at least with Evelina, we saw flashes of what we were expecting to see from her, of her coming in and just absolutely dominating at points.
Yeah, if she puts 50%, she wins most of the tournaments.
Yeah, she never quite put it together how I would want, but at least we saw the reason why she was so hyped.
Yes.
Henna just... She had her tournaments, but for me, it just felt like she was hyped at the same level as Kristen and Evelina, and she was basically just a kind of mid-pack player.
Yeah, and I didn't follow professional disc golf before the pandemic. I've played for a lot longer.
Right.
So I don't know. I know people had talked about, like, pre-pandemic, you know, she was one of the, like, potential, like, up-and-comers and stuff. So I don't know if that was just, you know, the little snippets we saw of them coming over here pre-pandemic was just like, oh, they're over here for like 3 weeks, a month, and then they go back home. Where this year they were like full on touring here, and they're both younger, and that's just hard. You're in a foreign country away from your family. Like, that's difficult. I'm hoping after this, a year under their belt. So I don't know. I'd say Kona, though. The contract, the expectations, and her performance from the year before. In 2021, she won 1 or 2 events. I can't remember off the top of my head. And she was in the mix. Like, she was up there. She was a rising star for sure. And I know probably half the money that Dee Dee paid her was because she has 100,000 followers or something like that on Instagram. Maybe not that many. I don't know. But
but it was that social media, that marketing component.
But it's like Simon. You know, Simon's a good player, and, you know, he won, but he was still making bank last year when he was barely cracking the top 10 because his YouTube videos get tens of thousands of views. And Discmania is like, yep, here you go. Here's, you know, shill this one, shill that one. Sorry, throw this one, demonstrate that one.
We'll have to see who he's demonstrating for this year.
Yeah.
Which is
the leading theory
stunned the heck out of me.
Yeah.
But
the leading theory is MVP. Who knows? My vote is for somebody said Gateway. And I think I sent you the Photoshop. Somebody Photoshopped him being sponsored by Buc-ee's.
Oh, yes. You sent me that picture.
I was like, oh, man, that's awesome.
What I can confirm, though, is that he will not be throwing the gnarly ball crusher next year.
That is for sure.
You know, we do not have the money to pay him to sponsor him.
we don't have the money to afford to have him come out for like 10 minutes. No,
obviously not. So let's get into another half in the bag disc golf award, and we'll say we'll call this one the moments that made us want to do keg stands.
Okay.
The moments of the year, basically.
Our favorite moments. Okay.
Favorite moments of the year.
I didn't write them all down like you wrote in the Discord. So I'm just kind of like trying to piece these together.
Yes.
Like, all right, what are you talking about here?
Yeah. So anyway, let's start by talking about the FPO moments that we really enjoyed this year. A couple that I had as highlighting or to highlight were one, Kristen Tatar winning Worlds.
Yep.
2, that awesome battle at Champions Cup between Paige and Kristen, which will unfortunately not be the last time that we will talk about that.
Probably not. We'll see.
And then I also had Paige breaking the all-time majors record as well. Those were the 3 that I had. Any other submissions that you would like to add?
All I wrote for favorite moments were for FPO were Kristen Tatar. That's all I wrote. Watching her play, she was phenomenal this year. The battles, even when she ended up in her worst finishes at 3rd place. I wish I could say my worst finish in the season was 3rd place. But there are times
in PO, right?
Yeah. And she also broke and held the record for the first disc golfer, men or women, to win $100,000 in a year.
Wow. I did not realize that.
Which was broken 3 or 4 hours later by Ricky. Because they were both right there. She had like 102 or 3,000. He ended up with like 110 or something like that, whatever it was. And then Paul actually got 100,000 in like a tournament the last week of December, winning some A tier.
Yeah, he was like, I can go get this too. Sure, why not?
Yeah, basically. He said it wasn't for that, but I mean, come on. So Kristen will forever and always be the very first disc golfer to ever win $100,000 in a year. And that's awesome. I mean, like
that's crazy.
Yeah.
For me, I give this one to her winning Worlds.
Yeah. I mean, pick a
just
moment.
Because,
let's be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, I think that it is well known that we are Kristen stans on this podcast. We enjoy pretty much everything she does.
She is, and watching her play, like just watching her talk things out, like you always can't hear it, but like talking things out and just stepping up and like, yeah, I'm going to execute this and then do it.
Yeah.
And rarely made a mistake. I want to see how this transfers for next year.
Yeah.
Like I would be shocked if she had as consistent of a year, because that's just really hard to do.
Oh yeah.
But I'd also not be shocked if she didn't, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. She went out there and kind of, coming into the year, I said the number 1 FPO player is Paige Pierce until it's not Paige Pierce.
Yep. And it's not.
I think there is a very real argument
unless
that
you're
Kristen
the PDGA.
Tatar, yeah, I think it's a very real argument that Paige might not be number 1 anymore.
Yeah,
but that is neither here nor there.
The UDisc dominance index.
Yes.
Hers. Yes. Okay, so her dominance index is 128. What this number is based on, hell if I know. Second place is Katrina Allen at 56.3.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then Paige is down there with a 43. So Kristen is 3 times more likely to beat Paige is how I interpret that. I guess. I don't know.
It's well, the nice thing about this is that you can click on one.
Yeah.
And click on the other and compare them. And Kristen Tatar is expected to finish best among these players 74.8% of the time.
Yeah. So
there you go.
If you put Kristen Tatar and Katrina Allen at their 128 and 56, it is basically 70% chance that Tatar wins.
Yeah.
So This is like a betting line, essentially. Like, if you're going to put money down, this is who's going to win, probably.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
so your favorite moment of the year was just getting to watch Kristen Tatar play most of her full season.
I would say, you know, and here's the other thing, that elbow injury, which I was right. I watched Latitude 64 put out a video. She had ulnar nerve transposition surgery. Nailed it.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Nice. I did not hear that. So
she
nice.
Mentioned it briefly in there, and obviously English is not her first language. I don't know what they speak in Estonia, but it's not English. Whatever. And she said that they took a nerve in her arm and pointed to the inside, the medial side, and moved it. And I was like, nailed it. Yes. That's also like one of the only elbow injuries that you can play through and not necessarily make it worse. Like, sorry, nerding out done for all of you who started to glaze over.
Yeah. So let's talk about our MPO keg stand moments.
Yes.
Tell me what you've got for this one, because I've got a couple ideas, but I don't really know where to go with this one.
I've got two in my mind. One would be Las Vegas Challenge, first event of the year. You got Drew and Gannon going to a playoff, and Gannon going for it, missing, and Drew taking it. And like, Drew said something along the lines of like, dude, this is like amazing. You're awesome. Like, you've got many more to come, not even knowing what the rest of the year. He was talking like a career, not like 6 months later.
Yeah.
You know? That was a good battle, and it was kind of like a cool foreshadowing for the full year. And then Paul Macbeth and Aaron Gossage, that playoff at Worlds.
Winning Worlds.
Yep. Which was kind of like a little callback to the previous Worlds.
Yes.
That didn't go in Macbeth's favor. And again, Aaron Gossage, fantastic player.
Yeah. The only other addition I have there is the European Open with Eagle and Paul.
How could I forget that? Yeah, no, that one takes it.
Yeah, just putting on an absolute show.
That was a full tournament, not just a couple bonus holes. I mean, no offense to like the final round and those guys all being in it, and it was great. Don't get me wrong, but European Open was 3-4 rounds, whatever it was.
Yeah,
it was everybody fighting for third place.
Yeah. Meanwhile, these two are just literally putting on a show.
Because Paul beat third place by 16, 17 strokes.
Yeah, and lost. Yeah.
Like, how do you beat third place by? And it's not like then there's a big gap from third to fourth. It was then like a normal 1 or 2 strokes. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, occasionally.
Yeah. Paul Macbeth went McBeast mode, and
Eagle took
Eagle
flight.
McMahon said, "Hold my discs."
Yeah. Eagle McMahon went Ed McMahon, and
So yeah, for me, I think that's the moment. Although I definitely have the same, Las Vegas Challenge where Gannon really set the stage for his year.
Yes.
And then Worlds, between Macbeth winning his 6th and going to a playoff and everything.
And but the Eagle Paul thing. Like, how did I forget that? Like, that is
because it was the only tournament the Eagle played, basically.
Yeah. What was that? Was it maybe 10 years ago? College basketball, NCAA tournament. They went like 6 overtimes.
Oh gosh.
You know what I'm talking about, though. I don't know the teams. I don't remember, but they went like 6 overtimes, and ESPN Classic was playing it like that later that day or that week. Yeah, because it was such a back of. That's what it reminded me of. That was like that, where it's like, yep, okay. And if we had a disc golf classic, that would be shown like tomorrow.
Yes,
because
it took over the Holy Shot.
Yeah, thank God. A cool moment. Don't get me wrong, but dear God, they played the hell out of that, and it just lost its specialness.
Would you say that seeing that every single commercial break was a bit of a buzzkill?
A little bit, I'd say.
Would you say that it was your MPO buzzkill?
No,
of the year.
I'm going to stay in Europe though.
Okay.
And Nico and that whole situation.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
really
Yep.
the only thing in MPO that was like a buzzkill, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, it was like there are things that kind of happened, but nothing that I would say were outside of sports. And if it wasn't Nico, I don't know how much this would have even got. I don't even know if Disc Golf Network would have switched to it.
Yeah. Well, and for me, the majors this year seems like there was always something to overshadow them.
Yeah.
You know, we talked about Champions Cup, which, spoiler alert, is going to be my FPO buzzkill.
Oh, you read my mind. You read my mind. I gained so many subscribers from that topic.
Oh, man.
That's how I measure these things now.
Yeah, it just...
I don't. I'm kidding on that one.
No.
But like...
No. But just the fact that both of those two events overshadowed such great weekends for both the men's and the women's. You know, we talked about that Champions Cup battle between Paige and Kristen being, you know, one of the moments of the year, one of the tournaments of the year, and it's overshadowed because of Elaine King opening up her mouth and getting involved.
Yeah,
we talked
to be
about
fair,
that,
she texted.
opening her phone and getting involved.
Yeah, she's got the Galaxy Z Flip. It looks like a new Razr, but it's an all touch screen. Crack that thing open there.
Man.
Yeah, I would say on the MPO side, nothing else really comes to mind this year. That's that was something that was like, eh.
I think if there were another nominee here, it would have to be Eagle being injured.
Yeah.
But again, just kind of us getting robbed.
Yeah, that one's kind of a weird one because he got hurt at the end of last season, technically.
Yeah. It's a weird one. It's got to be Nico, though, overshadowing that classic battle that we just talked about.
Yeah.
Because he was having issues.
Yeah.
And wish him the best.
Yes. I do like that he was selling on his website Nico stopwatches. It would only be better if they were programmed to stop at 30 seconds, but still, like, I hope that's a sign of him, like, kind of realizing things. You know what I mean? Like
getting himself right.
Yes. He talked a good game on, was it the Nick and Matt show?
I could not tell you.
He talked a good game saying how he's changed and he's made progress and all that. And fingers crossed. I mean, I hope so. It's easy to say those things.
Yeah, we won't get into that whole situation.
Yeah.
Like I said, my buzzkill on the FPO side was Elaine King, just for a lot of reasons, but I'll specifically give it to her
I can't wait.
Involvement in Champions Cup.
I can't wait to see what the announcer lineup looks like for the DGN schedule.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious how that goes.
Yeah. Okay.
I will say, for better or worse, good for Disc Golf Network for honoring contracts and seeing them through. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's...
Yeah. Is what it is.
Yeah.
So let's get on to, I guess, happier topics.
Yes.
We've got 2 more awards to pass out. What do you have?
I've got, we talked about that. I guess, 2. Did I count wrong? 1, 2, 3.
What did you count from?
6, 7, 8. Player of the year.
Yeah.
That's not a surprise. Comeback, we did that. Young player, we did that. Breakout, we did that. Disappointment, we did that.
Yep.
Favorite moment.
Yep.
Buzzkill. And then I think the one we're going to next, favorite player.
Yeah.
Of the year.
We'll go ahead and talk about our favorite player and our player of the year at the same time here.
For mine on the men's side, it's different.
Well, for mine on the men's side, it's different as well.
Okay.
But I figured that we would talk about them. We'll talk FPO or the FPO side first.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a short conversation.
Yeah. For those that have not been listening to this episode,
or those of you who've been drinking heavily,
yes,
it's Kristen Tatar.
Yes, my favorite player, the player that I am giving my golden bottle of bourbon to this year is Kristen Tatar.
The wise men.
Yes.
Chooses.
Yes. So for me, it's Kristen Tatar.
Yep, same.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I've got on that one.
I mean, if you're confused as to why she is our favorite and player of the year, listen to the previous hour.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, I mean, you could make an argument for a different favorite FPO player, which is honestly just a personal taste thing.
Yep.
Like maybe you just don't like her. Maybe like, I don't know. Cat Merch is
seems
unique.
likable.
She's likable, and she's just kind of that. I don't want to say like
wacky.
She's wacky.
Yeah,
in a good way. Like
yeah.
Although if I was the PDGA, did you hear who they announced as the FPO Player of the Year?
They announced Paige Pierce, I believe.
Yes.
Which I don't hate that. I mean, again, she won 2 majors this year?
2 majors and played a bunch of A tiers too, on top of all the other DGPT.
Right. So I think it makes sense that she's the DGPT Player of the Year. That said,
PDGA.
Sorry, the PDGA
the DGPT
Player
is
of the
Kristen.
Year. Yes, the DGPT is Kristen, who is also my Player of the Year.
Yes.
My other nominees were Paige, Kat, and Valerie.
As I commented on the PDGA's announcement on Twitter, I said, I'm okay with this if you change the name. Player of the Year just doesn't seem right because it's more of like a points leader. If you go out and you play all the majors, all the Pro Tour events, and then play, and you're say you're flipping back and forth, where Kristen wins 2, and then Paige wins 2 for the majors, and then you just flip flop back and forth all year. Yeah. And then Paige goes and plays a handful of A tiers, and that's how she wins it. I'm like, is that really like?
Yeah. For me, it comes down to Kristen was consistently.
I mean, her worst finish
was third.
Yes, with the DNF because of her elbow. So
yeah,
factor that how you will. I don't know.
I don't factor it.
Yeah.
It's an injury withdrawal.
It's a legitimate injury withdrawal.
Yeah.
Let's also. Yeah. We're both in sports medicine. This was a legitimate injury withdrawal, not some of the things that we deal with, where it's like go back out there. You're fine.
So to me, that's why she's the half in the bag disc golf Player of the Year.
Very prestigious
on the FPO
award.
side. Yes.
I'm sure that she'll.
Yes, I'm sure that she'll put that one on the mantle right with her
right next to the World
Championship.
Trophy.
Yeah.
There was controversy with that.
I did not hear this.
Yes. Well, there was a World's Trophy given to Kristen, and people were making fun of it quite heavily on Twitter. And then that there was an MPO version that was not given to Paul.
Because I did not hear this.
Because it was made fun of so bad.
Oh man, that's kind of funny though.
It was basically a piece of steel with like a 3D side profile of a basket, but not like it didn't look aesthetically pleasing.
Oh,
I'll say that.
That's a bummer.
Yes.
That's a bummer.
And when they handed it to Kristen, it looked like it weighed a ton because she was just like
what they need to do is just go to WWE style championship belts.
Get a belt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know how Paul's going to wear all of his, but hey,
I know that's
a him problem.
Podcasts had said that it wasn't hard to go to a trophy store to get something that looks nice.
Better.
Spend like basically PDGA for the majors. Spend $5,000 on a trophy and do it like I don't know whether you do it NFL style where you get to like take the trophy home and then you give back, like World Series or something like that, or Lombardi Trophy, or like Stanley Cup where you get to take it home, but then like all the winners' past names are on there.
Yeah.
I don't know. However, but like, I think they need to invest in a trophy a traveling trophy that whoever the winner is keeps it for a year, and then some other nice plaque or something.
Yeah.
So that you have something like, all right, cool. There's your year.
What, like,
you get to, we're taking it back now.
I think that's what like Wimbledon does for tennis.
Do they?
Like they have like the big plate that they give them platter, but then like they get a mini version of that.
Like a dessert plate.
Hold on to. Bigger than that, but
dinner plate instead of the serving platter.
Yes. Yeah.
But
pretty much.
I'd be okay if disc golf did something like that for the majors, where it's like, here's this awesome, really cool trophy. Take your picture, get your name engraved on it, or however. Your name will be I don't know.
Engraved on it. It'll stay at the DGPT.
It'd probably stay at the PDGA headquarters in Appling, Georgia.
Yeah.
Which is where they play Champions Cup at WR Jackson. It's going to be there for another couple of years, which is good. But yeah, okay. Back off our tangent.
Yes. Back to our awards, the awards that really matter.
The ones that the pros are clamoring for every year.
Yes.
That they've known about this, which they probably don't even know about this at all.
No, I would assume not. So so for the MPO Golden Bottle of Whiskey, our favorite player.
Yep.
Who are you giving it to?
I'm going to go with Matty O. It was a toss-up between Matty O, Chris Clemens, because he's just like, he's kind of fun to watch. Yeah. And Disc Golf Bob Ross. Zach Melton.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mostly all for their personalities. I didn't throw Simon in there because like that's so obvious. I'm trying to be different. Trying to promote discussion on this podcast because I figured you were going to throw Simon in the mix.
No, actually, mine here is the man who inspired me to buy a shirt, Ricky Wysocki.
Oh. I thought it was that Reaper disc supply.
Sorry, Joe. You are not an MP, or you are not eligible for this because you're not an MPO player.
No, I'm an AM player.
Yes. But no, mine is Ricky Wysocki.
Yeah. He's fun to watch
love
too.
the return to DD.
Return to Trilogy.
Yeah, return to Trilogy. And then I'd say that he kind of backed it up this year, and
he showed why
like
he got
genuinely
paid.
Had fun doing it too.
He showed why he got paid this year for sure. Because people were saying like, is he like, he basically got the same contract as Paul. I mean, instead of 10 years, 10 mil, it's 4 years, 4 mil, but still like, it's $1 million a year. And people are like, is he as good as Paul? There's an argument like he wasn't doing great. To be fair, the year before, between the pandemic and Lyme disease, like he had a lot going on. And this year, I know he had a flare up or two, but he also had 4 wins. He had, he won 1 major. Paul had 2, but still he had more win. Like,
overall, I think that he had a really good year. And it was fun to watch him.
Yeah, it was
fun.
And it was fun to watch Matteo. Like, man.
His maiden stamps are awesome.
Oh, they're legit.
Side tangent.
I wish I liked to putt with the maiden more.
Me too.
Or throw the maiden.
I love throwing the maiden as a forehand like approach.
Yeah.
Just kind of straight shooter. And I've tried putting with it, but it's just something about it just is a little off for me.
It's a little too shallow and the bead is a little too small.
Yeah.
It's not much. It's honestly, for me, it's a feel thing. Because they fly, at least for putting, identical.
Similar. Yeah.
Like,
So, so I think that leaves us with our last award of the year.
Yep.
The MPO Player of the Year.
Yep.
I've got Paul, Ricky, Eagle, and Chris Dickerson as my nominees here.
Interesting.
Any additions to that?
I've got Ricky, and you could kind of throw Calvin in there, but like, I mean, of the ones that you mentioned, I would say it would be Paul and Ricky. Essentially, I mean, if you look at it, PDGA gave Paul Player of the Year, DGPT gave Ricky Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. And you could cut it a couple different ways. Ricky had more wins. Paul had more majors. Like, consistency with their finishes. I think consistency, Paul finished slightly better, but it's like between the two of them, flip a coin.
Yeah.
Like Calvin was there.
Yeah. Calvin was always the bridesmaid, it seemed like.
Yeah, he was always there.
Time that he won.
Yeah. But he was always like right there. He was that guy where you're just like, yep, he's right there. He's so close. Couple shots here and there, and it's different.
So, is there anyone else besides Calvin that you'd like to throw in there? Or?
Not that I could think of. I mean, I know some people kind of made an argument for Simon, but Simon was a boomer bust. He was top 3 or top 40. Like, it was with the ones we talked about. Eagle, I didn't include in my list just because he didn't play that much. And
the reason I did include him was because the terms that he did play relatively well in.
Yeah.
For me, you're right. He didn't play enough for me to feel comfortable giving him the award.
Yeah.
I give it to Paul because I value those majors.
Like, so, I mean, flip a coin. Like you could, I think we could both make an argument. If you said I had to defend Paul and you had to defend Ricky, we'd come up with solid arguments either way. Like, and the debate
we'd
still
go back
rages
and forth
on Twitter
on this for
Reddit.
hours.
Like,
yeah. The reason I gave it to Paul was because he got the 2 majors.
Yep.
He finished second in the third.
Yeah.
And he had that memorable round at WR Jackson, setting the course record there.
Yeah.
Even though he ended up totally out of contention there.
Which was unfortunate, but like...
it is what it is.
It happens.
But then on top of that, his world championship was his 6th.
See, and I put Ricky because right now, with the way everything's structured, the strength of field between a major and a normal DGPT event, not that different.
Yeah.
And so Ricky winning 4 is still pretty... And I'm not saying like there isn't a psychological sense to it where it's just oh God, this is Worlds or European or whatever major you're playing in. It's just like the strength of field is
basically the same. On the men's side, it's effectively the same.
And European Open, outside of that amazing battle, that was a fairly weak field. But the same top pros were up there. So it wasn't like FPO side, that was not
totally
a good
different.
That was not a good field. Not trying to take anything away from anyone who finished well. But generally speaking, like I think it was Brody was talking on his podcast that at European Open, he was top 15 or something. Said he felt like he played like crap. He said if he was playing in a normal DGPT event, he would have been in the 30s or 40s at finishing place. So take that for what it's worth. I mean, you could always just look at ratings at the time.
Yeah.
Take that for what it's worth too. But like that gives you at least a sense of like the field wasn't outside of the top, not as strong. And the field only continues to get stronger. So I'll be curious to see how this goes coming into the 2023 season, which has technically already started.
Yes. So,
whatever. We'll come out with our predictions before the first main event.
Yes. And so I think that brings us to the end. Congratulations to all the winners.
Yes.
Commiserations to all of the runners-up. I'm sure you'll all be heartbroken.
Yeah. And to the winners of certain categories. Sorry.
Yes.
You're a winner, but not the kind you want to be.
You won a Razzie. Congratulations.
Yes, essentially. Just be like Halle Berry, be a good sport, and come and accept it for Catwoman.
Yeah. All right. So I think that brings us to the end.
Yep.
That basically puts a nice little bow on 2022.
Yep.
Looking forward to, I guess, the second season of Half in the Bag Disc Golf.
Woo!
Weird
Season 2, we got renewed. There was a big petition on change.org, and we listened to the fans, all 3 of you.
Yes.
How many posts do we have? 4? Damn it, who didn't vote?
All right. So I think with that said, Joe, thank you for your time today. Thank you for all that you do for the podcast.
And thank you for hosting.
Yes, thank you. Listeners, if you want to watch this, you can find this on YouTube/Joe's Disc Golf.
Yes.
Viewers, if you are watching this and just want to listen to it, you can find it wherever you get your major podcasts. You can follow us on social media, which Social Media Manager has been slacking, but is working on doing better. One of their New Year's resolutions.
Yeah. One of mine for last year was to post every day on Instagram, I think it was. And I did it for like 2.5 or 3 months. But there at the end, I was shit posting. And I was like, this isn't helping.
Yeah.
And then I went and basically did a 180. Not doing anything. I'm getting better on Twitter and YouTube.
Yes. So. You can find us on Twitter at HalfInTheBagDG.
Yep.
Where you can submit your Disc of the Week submissions, which we will be restarting that, and your listener questions. So feel free to hit us up. And listeners, viewers, thanks for your time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And enjoy your rounds. Bye.
Later.